be able to process and absorb the water better. Water is very essential for your health. This has been Self-Care Tips.
The 7th and final annual Devolution Conference is back. The conference will take place from 23rd to 26th of November 2021 at Makueni Boys High School, Makueni County. The theme of the conference is Multi-Level Governance for Climate Action, with the sub-theme Subnational Mobilization in Unlocking the Full Potential of Climate Action During and After Pandemics. The conference will be officiated by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya. To register as a delegate or exhibitor, visit www.devolutionconference.cog.go.ke or call 0718 242203.
The Kenya Medical Training College will hold its 90th graduation ceremony on December 2nd, 2021 at KMTC Graduation Square, Nairobi from 10 a.m. A mandatory graduation fee of 2,500 Kenya shilling is payable on or before 30th November 2021 to National Bank via the details on your screen. Adorning graduation gown will be optional, and graduates wishing to get one can visit KMTC headquarters in Nairobi from 15th to 29th November 2021. Join the event on the KMTC YouTube channel at KMTC Official. Visit www.kmtc.ac.ke for more information on the graduation, training programs, and application procedure. KMTC, training for better health.
The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, in partnership with eCitizen, brings you a self-service platform for management of political parties membership. At the click of a button, you can now check the political party you are registered in as a member, resign from a political party, or join a political party of choice. Simply log into your eCitizen account, select your preferred service, fill in the details, then submit. You will receive a system acknowledgement of your request, and an eCitizen system notification will be issued once the processing is complete. ORPP is committed to serve you to promote political rights in a democratic multi-party system. For more information, visit www.orpp.or.ke or engage us using our handles at ORPP Kenya across social media platforms. Your party, your choice.
My name is Mohammed Ahmed Mohammed, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
From wherever you're watching us, it's 9 p.m. East African time. Our eyes on the news this Monday, the 22nd of November 2021, from Broadcasting House right here in the capital city Nairobi, Kenya, good evening. I'm Mboya.
And I'm Purity Museo. You're right on time for the latest news items that have been taking center stage here in the country and across the globe. And of course, tonight we also have a special segment, Perspective.
That's right, Perspective. Tonight we will hear about the climate change crisis. Where are we? What's being done? Dr. Joseph Cheboyo, Director, Kenya Forest Research Institute, is live in studio. All that coming up right here on KBC Prime Edition. But first things, our top stories.
So we have all this concert and effort to make sure Kenyans do not go without food.
Country's drought situation. 2.5 million Kenyans still in dire need of humanitarian aid.
Committee jailbreak. 6 prison warders to remain in custody for 8 days.
Public auction of junk aircrafts. Just what would you do with a junk plane? This in our special feature.
Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter, and you can connect with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Let's get straight to our top story. 2.5 million Kenyans are still in dire need of humanitarian support, with counties placed under red alert due to persistent drought. The affected include children placed under the school feeding program. As Zainab Said reports, the government's plan to substitute relief and distribution with a monthly cash transfer program for the vulnerable household is on course.
More than 2 months after the government declared drought a national disaster, 23 arid and semi-arid counties are still experiencing the natural calamity, which has caused a humanitarian crisis. As promised, the government will from the 1st of next month begin giving each affected household 3,000 Kenyan shillings monthly. The stipend is meant to boost the existing 2,000 shillings given per household once every 2 months under the Inua Jamii program.
The lessons we have that we are in the right direction. I think round over, every country which find themselves like in a situation that we are in, cash transfer has been found most suitable. And in Kenya, we are working with the Safaricom. And for those people most people have telephone, cash transfer has been very efficient, and we believe. And in any case, we are not the only one. A lot of development partners are also doing cash transfer. One food program is one. Food agriculture organization is one. Red Cross is also another one. So we have all this concert and effort to make sure Kenyans do not go without food. Let me stop.
At the same time, Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs, Professor Margaret Kobia, says they will distribute food to schools in the affected regions.
Areas. So we just want to say thank you very much and for this support. And I think as Kenyans, we are happy to get this support to augment what the government is doing and what other Kenyans are doing, private sector, NGOs, because if you go in the 23 counties, you also find that the other World Food Program, there is also Red Cross, there is also the government effort, and now there is the People's Republic of China with all this rice. I think we should be in a good space. And hopefully, as the rains are depressed, maybe very soon, maybe before end of March, we will have more rains, and then we will be able to recover.
She made the remarks after receiving a donation of 945 metric tons of rice from the Chinese government. The final consignment, consisting of 890 metric tons of rice, is expected in the country by the end of this week. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Thank you so much, Zainab, for that report. Now, former committee prison Charles Mutembi, his deputy Joseph Loklari, and 4 warders will remain in custody for 8 days. Terrorism Court in Kahawa Principal Magistrate Boaz Ombare said the days are sufficient to allow completion of investigations. This comes as the 3 terror convicts who were rearrested last week after escaping from committee were placed under the custody of the anti-terror police unit.
At Anti-Terrorism Court in Kahawa on Monday afternoon, the investigating officers sought the detention of 6 committee maximum prison warders, including the commandant Charles Mutembi and his deputy Joseph Loklari, for 30 days pending conclusion of investigations into last Monday's prison break incident, in which 3 terror convicts escaped. Principal Magistrate Boaz Ombare ruled they stay in custody for 8 days.
Noting that limitation of a fundamental right should be applied in a less restrictive manner, and the provision that the respondents are presumed innocent until proven guilty, I hereby allow the continued detaining of the respondents for a period of 8 days. While in detention, the respondents retain all the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution, except those that are inconsistent with the fact that they are so detained.
The 4 junior warders, Pamela Chebet, Peter Thuku, Lilian Mukasia, and Nicholas Otieno, were manning the prison when the 3 terror convicts escaped.
Your Honor, can you review on 2 questions the time when they will start? 8 days will start. And Your Honor, you still have the suit, enough suit made for you to review even from 8 days that have brought in new material that the Minister for Interior admitted that the facility needs now new CCTV facilities.
And I agree with you, Mr. Mari, that the court can review its decision, but at this stage there are no grounds, sufficient grounds for review.
The 6 will remain at Gigiri Police Station until November 29th, 2021. Meanwhile, a police officer who was on duty when 3 prisoners escaped from Kilgore's police station cells was on Monday charged with 3 counts of negligence of official duty on November 19th, 2021. Appearing before Narok Chief Magistrate Josephat Mungai, Andrew Cheriot Bet denied the charges and was released on a bond of 100,000 shillings and 1 surety. The case will be mentioned on December 8th, 2021, and hearing date is set for March 2022.
Kesi itasikizwa tarehe 21 mwezi wa 3 mwaka ujao, itatajwa tena tarehe 8 Disemba.
Let's move into the world of politics now. West Pokot Governor Professor John Lonyangapuo joined the Azimio la Umoja initiative. Lonyangapuo says that his Kenya Union Party is willing to sit down with the Orange Democratic Movement, Raila Odinga, and craft an understanding that will help ensure that the people of West Pokot are incorporated in the next government. Lonyangapuo announced his move and presented to the community resolutions to Raila at a meeting held in West Pokot. Achola Simon with the details.
ODM leader Raila Odinga cast his Azimio la Umoja net into West Pokot County to fish out those who believe in his initiative.
Nimekuwa mkuu wa chuo kikuu, nimekuwa PS, nilifanya kazi chini ya Prime Minister Raila wakati huo, nimekuwa senator mpaka nikawa number 1, sasa ni governor, si ndio? Mimi nikisimama hapa na niambie nyinyi barabara ya kwenda mbele imeonekana, kuna makosa? Kuna makosa? Na msiponisikiza si rahisi kupata mwingine.
Na leo mimi nimefurahi kama profesa mwenyewe ameungana na baba. Sasa kazi yetu ni rahisi hapa. Na nataka niambie baba, tukiwa kule tumepata masimu mingi kutoka wale wa jamaa wako pande ile.
Na ukituona tumeungana na baba ni kwa sababu tumeelewa kwamba nchi hii haiwezi endelea bila watu kuwa kitu kimoja. Na mtu mmoja hawezi jipiga kifua, awe ni yeye atasema vile watu wataishi.
Tabia yetu ni namna gani? Tabia yetu ni hii wa Pokot. Na wageni wasikie leo. Tabia yetu ni kwamba Kama wewe uko na msichana, msichana atafuti bwana, ni bwana anatafuta msichana. Mtu akiwa na msichana yake hawezi tembeza msichana huko usijui wapi huko. Mwenye anatafuta msichana anakuja wapi? Anakuja wapi? Na leo hii msichana wetu wa 2022 mtu ya kwanza na pekee ya kufika Pokot ni Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
Pokot County Governor Professor John Lunyengapu, Senator Samuel Pogisho, Pokot South Member of Parliament David Kosing, and former Tiati Member of Parliament Asman Kamama all came out in support of the former premier.
Na mtu mwenye amekuja mchana kuomba mwenyewe amejileta na ameomba kwa unyenyekevu, tutamsikiza ama hapana? Tutamsikiza.
Raila maintaining skewed policies before and after independence are to blame for marginalization of some communities.
NFD, Northern Frontier District of Kenya, was completely neglected. So there were disparities in development.
ODM leaders said if he ascends to power, he'll ensure increased resources to develop units to spur development and industrialization at the county level.
Remember, in the new constitution, we provided for equalization fund that was meant to help areas which had been very marginalized. That equalization fund has not been dispensed properly up to now. In the BBI, we had proposed to extend the period by another 10 years so that these counties can actually benefit.
Raila promising to ensure the issue of dilapidated infrastructure in West Pokot County is addressed and natural resources available in the county are exploited to the benefit of the residents.
If you are able to, we are requesting that you be able to talk to the president so that this investor can come very fast to complete this plan. We are also asking disbursement funds to counties for mineral exploration and for mining purposes through e-mining exploration fund.
Achola Simon, Prime Edition, West Pokot County.
Let's stay with politics. Deputy President William Ruto has lashed out at politicians who he said are fond of using Mau Forest as a tool for political mileage. Ruto said that Mau issue was a gone case after the illegal settlers were convicted from the forest to pave way for the restoration of the biggest water catchment area in Narok County after attending Thanksgiving ceremony for Nairobi-nominated MCA Leanti Mama at Oloipito. The DP assured the people that nobody will return to the forest as the government had put in place firm plans of its restoration. Ruto said he was firmly behind the conservation efforts of Mau and other vital water towers in the country and also backs the ongoing reforestation program.
Deputy President William Ruto on Monday took his campaign trail to Narok County, castigating those riding on Mau Forest conservation issue and fueling animosity across communities.
Hakuna barabara wamejenga, hakuna stima wamejenga, hakuna equipment yoyote wameleta, hakuna TTI yoyote wamejenga. Wametuzoea kuja kutugawanya kwa mambo ya Mau. Mimi nataka niseme hapa, the Mau question is closed. Wale wengine watafute sera ya kuuza, waache kugawanya watu. Tumekubaliana.
The Deputy President dismissed the assertion that he is opposed to the reclamation of the Mau Forest, saying he is in the front line in conservation of all forests.
Hatuwezi kwenda mbele kama Kenya kama watu milioni 14 wako blacklisted kwa CRB. Na mimi nasema mwaka ujao tunaweka bilioni 50 kwa micro, small and medium enterprise.
The DP was accompanied by a host of leaders who rallied for his support based on his track record.
Nataka niwaambie, ukijaribu kupandisha tinga mlima itaanguka. Lakini ukisukuma wheelbarrow itapanda.
Ya constituency yote 6 ni ya hasla ama mna
uchumi wa nchi. Tunataka kuunganisha maisha ya Wakenya, na tunawapatia kiongozi ambaye ako na sera.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Now, let's get an update on the COVID situation in the country. The country has recorded 18 19 positive cases Monday from a sample size of 3,983 tested so far. Those figures translate to a positivity rate of 0.5%. From the cases, 13 are Kenyans, while 5 are foreigners. The total confirmed cases now stand at 254,728. There is no death reported Monday, with the cumulative fatalities remaining at 5,328. As of November the 21st, 2021, a total of 6,398,580 vaccines had so far been administered across the country. Now, the Kenya Wildlife Service has raised concern over the increased cases of poaching by criminals who pose as herders. KWS says that at least 45 elephants have been killed in the last 11 months. More of this in our county news wrap.
According to Laikipia Senior Game Warden Rose Malenya, it was initially thought that the wild animals would have died as a result of the ravaging drought, but reports according to KWS veterinary doctor indicate that the elephants were shot dead by suspected poachers. In the past 3 months, thousands of heavily armed herders have been invading conservancies and private property in the county in search of pasture and water for their cattle.
Tulikuwa tunatarajia wakati huu ndovu wakufe kwa sababu ya ukame, lakini ndovu wengi Laikipia zaidi ya 45 kuanzia Januari mpaka saa hizi wamekufa kwa sababu ya kudungwa ya bunduki.
And the population of Mai Mahiu town in Naivasha is expected to double in 5 years due to the upcoming infrastructure projects that include multi-billion industrial park and the SGR. According to Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui, demand for land has risen with the area between Mai Mahiu and Longonot Center identified as the logistics center for the park.
Hii area yote ya Longonot kuja mpaka huku itakuwa ni mahali ya logistics. Mahali ambapo vijana wetu wale watakuja kufanya hizo makazi ya kuchukua cranes. Kwa hivyo pia I'm challenging you, watoto wetu wale wamemaliza form 4 tuwapeleke kwa courses ambazo ni za warehousing, cargo clearing.
Meanwhile, leaders in Eastleigh have termed as unfortunate utterances by Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi that there are cheaply available firearms for just as little as 1,000 shillings on Eastleigh.
Wamatangi amesema uongo. Hakuna bunduki hapa inayouzwa shilingi 1,000. Hakuna ugaidi na uhalifu hapa. Hakuna wananchi ambao ni second class citizens hapa. Tuko sawa. Kwa hivyo tunamwambia aseme, aende kwa magazeti na vyombo vya habari, apologize kwa watu wa Eastleigh.
Elsewhere, Planet Gold Organization is in the process of setting up model mining sites in Kakamega to showcase new technologies and best practices to be adopted by artisan miners. Western Regional Project Officer of Planet Gold, Convin Omondi, said at the end of the 5-year project, artisan miners will be expected to shift from their old mining methods and reduce on mercury use.
We'll come up with the best mining methods which are alternate to mercury use, and we'll try to educate miners to adopt those best technologies.
And plans are underway to fast-track the registration of community lands in some 24 counties normally inhabited by pastoral communities in the country. Land and Physical Planning Chief Administrative Secretary Alex Mburi said the move is meant to end conflict among the pastoral communities. And the Coca-Cola system in Kenya has unveiled this year's Christmas campaign under their newly launched Real Magic philosophy and platform. The campaign seeks to celebrate the real magic of humanity when communities come together.
Now, on November 17, 2021, at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, a rare event took place, that of public of junk aircrafts feature Our features reporter Nisiman was in attendance not as a bidder but to seek answer to a very valid question, which is why would anyone want to acquire a junk aeroplane? And here is now the feature Under the Hammer.
It is commonplace to have household items, vehicles, or even homes go under the hammer. But certainly not so for aircrafts. November 17, 2021, at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
Any other bid? 90,000. 115, bidder number 3. Bidder number 3, 115.
It is auction day.
416.
And they are all here, ready to fly back home, literally speaking. This following a Kenya Airports Authority notice to auction 73 junk aircrafts spread across Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Moi International Airport Mombasa, Wilson Airport, and Lokichogio Airstrip. Big and small planes, all with varying wear and tear. But why would anyone want to buy a junk plane?
276. 276 for the first time. 276 for the second time.
And here comes the hour.
95 bidder number 2. 97. 197. 198.
At the end, the winners celebrate.
Mine I want to take for tutorial purposes. I would want the upcoming engineers and pilots to benefit from the same, so I'll keep it for that purpose.
And every auction provides indirect opportunities.
We are representing our client just to observe the process, to find out if there are any other airlines which would need support in terms of legal services and regulatory services.
I've been successful. Have purchased 3 of them, one jet, another one cargo, another one for local flights. The cargo one is for business, the other one for personal use. The jet one is going to be for personal use.
According to the Kenya Airports Authority, the planes are being auctioned because they are out of air service and they are occupying space that is meant for air traffic services and ground handling services, which breaches safety and efficiency of aircraft operations. Out of the 17 planes on sale at Jomo Kenyatta Airport, 13 were bought. The owners, through Gazette notice, were expected to clear any outstanding bills and reposition their aircrafts appropriately. Those being auctioned have not complied with that notice, and thus aircraft not airworthy. This isn't the first time that Kenya has tried to clear away unwanted aircraft. Flashback 2 years ago. A similar auction was held in 2019 where the Kenya Airports Authority auctioned off 7 aircraft among 12 planes abandoned by owners. 4 days ago, we followed up on one such plane and find it at Kitengela's Club 034. We speak to the club manager.
We brought up this plane so that maybe we come up with something new. At least we have something new, maybe in Kenya, or I can say East Africa. It's a restaurant.
Tell us about that.
Stroke club.
While it is unlikely that any of these aircrafts auctioned here will ever fly again, this is a bargain that the buyers are willing to take. Reporting for KBC at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi County, I'm Nisi Imano.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya Galatians chapter 2 verse 20, bonyeza *811 *397 hash.
Galatians 2 verse 20. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya Galatians chapter 2 verse 20, bonyeza *811 *397 hash.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Well, welcome back. As we promised, live in studio, Dr. Joseph Cheboiwo, Director. Joshua Cheboiwo, thank you, Director for Kenya Forest Research Institute. Welcome to the program, and thanks for the correction.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, a lot has been said about climate change. Sometimes we tend to be too scientific, sometimes we are too technical when we are talking about this subject. What is climate change in simple terms?
Thank you. As you have said, climate change is a complex matter. It's not as easy as you might think, because it involves long-term monitoring of parameters which are of weather in nature. So, do you know weather changes on a daily basis? They change on a weekly basis, they change on a monthly basis, they change on a yearly basis. But it's predictable. When you look at around the year, you know March there is rainfall, and the temperatures are expected to be this. So every year, March, we find over very many years, there are changes. Initially, they give 30 years period for any body to say that climate change has happened. Annual, 2 year, 3 year is not yet attained that particular significance for us to say it is permanency, and there is permanency in terms of that change. So a 30-year period is usually used to indicate or to measure and indicate that climate change has taken place.
Okay.
And the key parameter which globally is now accepted is the temperature.
Okay.
And temperature has a lot of influence to very many other weather patterns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and even some of those parameters you're talking about, we see cyclones, for example, in the global north. In the Far East, we are seeing tsunamis. In the Kenyan context, what is the proof that we are experiencing climate change?
We have to look at our parameters at global level. There has been, for the last almost many years, temperatures in this global scene has been increasing over time. So even our temperatures here, if we take long-term 100-year trend, we shall be seeing that they have moved higher by certain degrees centigrade. That's the time now we can say that climate change is taking place even in this country. So the best parameter for us really to evaluate is looking at the temperature pattern for the last 100 years. Then we see how is it behaving. Is it is expected to be usually repetitive or remains constant over the years.
Okay.
But if you see it having a gradual increase, then we say that one has really increased.
Okay.
And it will influence a lot of factors of climate aspect of it.
Okay, there's a story one of my colleagues, Zainab Said, she talked about 2.5 million Kenyans being in dire need of humanitarian support, and that in fact 11 counties have been placed under the red alert due to persistent drought. Is drought a parameter? Does it fit within that puzzle that you're talking about?
Drought is caused by failure of rainfall to come at the right time, at the right season of that particular place, what we are talking about. And this is, rainfalls are caused by wind direction and water masses. So if the Indian Ocean is warm and the water or wind can pass through there and then collect moisture, and they pass through the normal areas and then they are able to deposit rainfall. So if this wind changes, if the ocean movements due to either increased temperature or other global patterns change, then it means that water is not being moved to the right places and then rainfall is received.
Okay.
Then that one now will affect rainfall availability in that particular area. The dry areas of Kenya like Wajir, they have been not had rainfall for the last almost 2 years. So this is really related to the global water masses, which is supposed to really influence the wind patterns which move through these particular seasons, these areas. And then if they don't carry sufficient moisture, then there will be no rainfall.
There will be no rainfall.
Yeah, so we can trace all this to the global weather patterns, which is changing.
Okay.
Which also it affects Kenya, affecting other countries.
Yeah. And there's also a link between rainfall and forests.
Definitely. If you look at Sahara Desert, there are very big trees if you manage to go through the sand. It means those places had forests many years ago, until there was change in the wind direction, and then water mass being brought from the oceans failed to go there.
Okay.
Then there was no rainfall. Okay. Then it really becomes a desert. Okay. So there cannot be rainfall, there cannot be forests where there are no rain.
Okay.
Rain is one of the principal components of forests.
Okay, exactly. And if you look at this data showing that Kenyan forests are being degraded, and I want to know, you're a director at KEFRI. I'm interested in knowing what policy action is being put in place to mitigate. And as you respond to that, you can also tell us what role KEFRI plays in terms of mitigating climate change.
Forests usually, stable forests are supposed to have a certain physical features. The mature forest, the young samplings. So when we call a complete forest, it should have all the trees, the medium trees, and the young trees. That one is now a complete forest. But when there is degradation, very many factors come in. If there are grazing, if there are people who are cutting a lot of trees which are more valuable, so you find that forest is no more having sufficient distribution of the edges of that forest. Then in that particular case, the forest is not a normal forest. Then it's already a degraded forest. This particular forest can change into grasslands because the valuable trees are being removed, or the samplings which are supposed to replace the bigger trees are being eaten or browsed by livestock. So you find an even forest which is almost opening up into grazing land. And if that is not prevented, it will become an open grassland, and there will be no more forest. So because they cannot succeed each other, and then the older forest, when they die, there is no younger ones coming up. So this is what's called forest degradation. And in forest degradation, the only way of reversing this or restoring the original forest is removing the drivers. So if it is being caused by livestock browsing, if it's being caused by population collecting firewood and poles and other materials from that forest, we have to restrict that particular exploitation. And then if that forest is already don't have enough seeds, then we have to reforest it by planting or other measures which can be brought in to restore it to its original status.
Its original status. I remember Kenya committing to restore 5.1 million hectares of degraded land. That was after the Paris Agreement.
Yes.
Where are we with that?
Kenya, as part of the Pond Challenge, we committed to really restore 5.1 million hectares of degraded lands. It's not only forest. You can also find degraded farmlands, dry lands, and our government forests. So all this combined, we committed to really rehabilitate as part of African 100 million hectare challenge, and as part of commitment to Bond challenge as part of the climate change contribution. So in this particular aspect, there are now efforts being made in classifying these forests and then knowing what actions are taking place, and then under the 10% tree cover strategy, in which we want to plant 2 billion trees as a country, moving towards 10% forest cover, which is our long-term target, which we wanted to achieve by 2030. And these are actions, and GEFRI here usually brings in the technology. We know how to assess this forest. What do we need to do to it? If there is no more seed banks or seed stocks, then we say there is the second intervention is to clock out, protect it, and if there are trees which are still remaining, it can be able to regenerate itself. But if there is no more enough trees to produce the seeds which can fall into the ground and then regenerate, then we say we can now have human intervention by planting. So this is what we have done under 10% tree cover strategy. We have identified these areas in public land, in farmlands, and then it's also community land. And now what actions are required to be done by all players, private sector, county governments, individuals, public agencies, to really restore their area which they are contributing, or if they have been identified and they are supposed to do it as part of contribution to this 10% tree cover strategy.
Okay. In terms of the outcomes, what happened in the COP26 in Glasgow? What in terms of those outcomes from that summit, what would you say? What does it mean for us as a country?
As we have said, climate change is a global issue. In fact, if you see the drivers of climate change are mostly developing countries. If you see the contribution of warming up is greenhouse gases. And these greenhouse gases, the major victim is produced by coal. Coal burning to generate energy, mostly in developed countries. A lot of transport, factories who are being run by these energy sources are contributing to creating these greenhouse gases, which now shield and then generate higher temperatures. So the world since 1970s have identified that the warming of global is a big problem to humanity going to the future. It will affect a lot of processes, agriculture, rainfall patterns, and it will cause many other health conditions and so on. So we have really, as a global community, we have decided to intervene. What are the interventions? Interventions are in two ways: mitigation and adaptation. We as a country, we are not contributing much to climate change in terms of generating carbon dioxide, because as I say, 72% is coming from coal. Our energy sources is hydro, geothermal, solar, and now wind. So apart from the communities who are burning charcoal, and then their firewood, those are small who will contribute. But in terms of significance of Iraqi, we are very far, because most of it is done through coal and other energy sources, which are really polluting. So these are the countries now we are telling. We have been contributing for very many years, and it has been attributed to countries: US, China, Britain, and other countries. India. Yes. These are countries now whose contribution to greenhouse gases has been identified and then documented. These are the countries we are saying, in the area of producing these gases, you have to really minimize, to reduce your production, to ensure that we minimize our temperature not exceeding 1.5 degrees by 2030 and beyond. So, but Kenya, when we are going to COP, we are people who are suffering. You have found these droughts, you have found flooding. All of these are attributed to climate change, and they are affecting us, and we have not contributed much. So what we are saying is, we as a country, we have already developed what's called NTC. This is national determined contribution of Kenya towards amelioration of climate change. And we, in the mitigation aspect of it, we are saying we shall continue with our energy sources, which I have just mentioned. We are going to increase our tree cover to 10% so that we can absorb more of these gases. Because when you are dealing with climate change, there are two ways of doing it. You reduce producing the gaseous aspect of it, or you bring in other adaptation in which mitigation measures in which you try to remove these particular gases from the atmosphere through mostly afforestation. So the environment aspect of it comes in because we do what's called sequestering. Because the plants take on carbon dioxide and produce oxygen, which is a good air for us.
In fact, there is a conference that's coming up tomorrow. Would you like to talk about it? What should we expect?
There is a conference which is called Commercial Forest Conference and Expo, the first national commercial conference and expo, which is being organized by the country, being coordinated and led by KEFRI. This in one of our adaptation, about the 13 adaptation actions by which the country has brought into NDC, is planting or putting 140 hectares in commercial forestry. So how do we go about it? So this is the first conference in which we are saying we are bringing in all the players in this country who are dealing with tree growing for purposes of commerce or purposes of business. It can be tree growers and then industry who buy these trees, traders who depend on forest products in their value chain, from the wholesaler, transporters to retailers, and then those who are people who consume. If you are biomass energy like the tea sector, if you are industries which use firewood, and many other, if you are timber treatment plants which treat these transmission poles, all this we are bringing together so that we can really discuss where we are, what experiences do we have, what challenges are we having, what opportunities are we having, so that we can have baseline scenario which can move this country now to grow commercial forest or growing of trees as a business.
So as you conclude, expectations?
We expect from this a lot of information from our experiences as a country, because now moving forward we are trying to make tree growing as a business. So from there, those who are growing trees, they will know who can buy their trees, what type of trees how should they grow their trees to beat which market niche. And then investors who want to put in processing plants, they will know how much growers are there in the country. Today have enough material for them to sustain their industry and so on.
That's a good place to leave it. All that just to ensure that we check climate change. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Joshua Cheboy, for coming into the studio.
Thank you very much.
Well, we take a short break. When we come back, we're going to look at the day's business, and later on we have the day's sports. Stay with us.
The Kenya Medical Training College will hold its 90th graduation ceremony on December 2nd, 2021 at KMTC Graduation Square, Nairobi from 10 a.m. A mandatory graduation fee of 2,500 Kenya shilling is payable on or before 30th November 2021 to National Bank via the details on your screen. Adorning graduation gown will be optional, and graduates wishing to get one can visit KMTC headquarters in Nairobi from 15th to 29th November 2021. Join the event on the KMTC YouTube channel at KMTC Official. Visit www.kmtc.ac.ke for more information on the graduation, training programs, and application procedure. KMTC, training for better health.
The 7th and final annual Devolution Conference is back. The conference will take place from 23rd to 26th of November 2021 at Makueni Boys High School, Makueni County. The theme of the conference is multi-level governance for climate action, with a sub-theme, subnational mobilization in unlocking the full potential of climate action during and after pandemics. The conference will be officiated by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya. To register as a delegate or exhibitor, visit www.devolutionconference.cog.go.ke or call 0718 242203.
The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is a model regulator of political parties mandated to register political parties, regulate political parties, and administer the political parties fund.
The Amazons. You are the same as your sister. You're as much of a traitor as she is.
What? This is all so painful, Nanny. To learn that she's not our mother.
You marry Diana? Then you put this in your head, that I won't live with you.
ORPP is committed to serve you to promote political rights in a democratic multi-party system.
No. I didn't mean to hurt him. I just had it taken to Wanan Palace. I didn't mean to harm him.
Wanan Palace? Did you want to...
Shut up. Save him, please. If you can save him, I'll let you be the Empress. I really didn't mean to hurt His Majesty. I really didn't mean to hurt him.
I had it coming. That day I saw you poison the Imperial Empress Mother. I should have known I'd die by your hands one day.
Good evening, welcome to Business. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, Controller of Budget, the Auditor General and the National Treasury have resolved to convene a meeting with county governments to fast-track settlement of pending bills. This was discussed during the 15th ordinary session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, where it emerged that the issue of pending bills remains a key challenge for counties. The meeting has called for an establishment of framework that will check borrowing by counties for sustainability and prudent use of borrowed money.
We did actually interrogate ourselves in making sure that the swings when we have an election of revenues going down and up is something that concerns all of us, and going into the future we must, all of us, make the elections less acrimonious, less controversial, so that we can keep the country moving. Even when we have an election, it doesn't affect our performance or the performance of our economy.
You have informed the nation. These are the matters we discussed and agreed. I think the only thing I can do is to congratulate you on your leadership of the council in ensuring that we move forward together.
Now to some good news. You will be able to lodge a claim in real time from a road accident scene following the launch of the registration application system, the Association of Kenya Insurance. The move is part of a strategy to curb insurance fraud.
Data by the Insurance Regulatory Authority indicates that there were 45 reported cases of insurance fraud between January and June this year, compared to 64 in a similar period of 2020. To stem this, the underwriter body has rolled out claims registration application system that will, among others, allow claimants to lodge claims in real time using their smart gadgets. The system is in the form of a mobile application that can be downloaded on smartphones. The association argues that the app will help curb fraud and other vices in the motor vehicle class of insurance business, and ultimately, this will quicken the time taken to settle motor vehicle insurance claims. The system has several features, including insurance status verification at the point of registration, geolocation, picture and video capture of the accident, and users can as well dial service providers such as ambulances or towing services, and one can get notifications on the claims process. Insurers have in the past stated that cases of fraud in the form of multiple insurance contracts and claims on a single vehicle are rampant, as well as collusion by agents. Regina Manyara reporting for the Prime Edition.
Now, moving on, shares of National Bank of Kenya are to be delisted from the Nairobi Security Exchange from Thursday this week, following the lender's acquisition of the KCB Group. The BOW says the delisting follows approval by shareholders and regulators. Betty Kiptum with the details.
National Bank of Kenya was initially fully owned by the government since its inception in 1968. The lender was listed in 1994 when the government offloaded a 32% stake in an IPO. NBK fell into a financial crisis and had been struggling with mounting bad debts in recent years until 2020, when KCB's takeover bid was successful. The initial plan was to integrate NBK into KCB Group's operations, but the plan was changed over fears of loss of deposits and customers. The new plan involved NBK operating as a standalone subsidiary of KCB Group. In the takeover transaction actualized through a share swap, 10 NBK shares were exchanged for 1 KCB share. This led to suspension of NBK shares from trading from the NSE on the 2nd of September 2019. Now, the BOZ has announced the lender would be delisted this Thursday. NSE said notice is hereby given on the delisting of National Bank of Kenya Limited from the Nairobi Securities Exchange with effect from November 25th, 2021. The delisting follows the successful takeover of 100% shareholding of NBK by KCB Group PLC and NBK shareholders' approval. NBK joins other firms that have been delisted from the BOZ, including Kenol Kobil in August 2019 after the acquisition by Ruby Energy SAS. CMC Holdings was delisted in 2015 after the takeover by Al-Futtaim Auto and Machinery Co. Famco. Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition.
Marsabit County has emerged as the most suitable location out of 7 key contenders to host a sports spot that has other counties being Laikipia, Kilifi, Tana River, Isiolo, Turkana and Narok. Kenya Space Agency Director General Colonel Hilary Kipsgei says development of a spaceport would foster research, innovation and growth of knowledge in Kenya.
In an assessment of 47 counties, Marsabit County emerged as the most favorable location to set up a spaceport due to its large tracts of unoccupied, affordable land, low population density, low trafficked airspace, generally flat terrain, and proximity to the Lapset corridor. Other counties that were viable options include Laikipia, Kilifi, Tana River, Isiolo, Turkana, and Narok.
And some of the benefits include employment opportunities. It will catalyze the development of the space industry in Kenya. And as a Kenya Space Agency, one of our focus areas is in the development of our national space capability.
The report recommends construction of additional supporting infrastructure such as roads, boreholes, and solar farms if Marsabit is chosen to host the spaceport.
Our investment in the aerospace industry for a very long time has been focused on aviation, whereas the rest of the world is really developing in other technical capabilities concerning space.
Experts estimate that the initial stage of the spaceport construction will cost 5 billion shillings and operational costs will amount to 7 billion Kenyan shillings annually. The spaceport is expected to earn Kenya 1 billion shillings per launch, with an estimate of 5 launches within the first year of construction that would rise to 60 launches by the 10th year of operation.
At the commercial viability of that spaceport, we developed numbers and we were able to determine that the investor will be able to make a whopping 1.05 billion for every launch that they will be doing in the future.
Reporting for Prime Edition, my name is Ibak Said.
Well, that's it for business. Up next, sports with Karen after the break.
labda wakumbuka lilifanyika jana?
Tangu ulipoanza kushika hicho kichwa uchoki.
Ingekuwa si mimi, angekuwa hapa na mamake.
Ni jambo la busara kujua yaliyo muhimu katika maisha yako.
Sisi ndo tunaenda huko ndani, nyinyi mnabakia hapa.
Tunkuja sote hapa, tuingia sote ndani. Nataka huyo mwanamke aone nyuso zetu tutakavomtia aibu.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the 800-meter world record holder David Rudisha has announced his comeback from a leg injury on his social media platforms. The athletics top cream said he had a successful surgery of removal of an implant on his left leg that has been there for the last 1.5 years.
In 2019, David Rudisha was involved in a serious car accident. In May 2020, while preparing for a comeback, he sprained his left ankle while walking near his home in Kilgoris, Western Kenya. The injury made him miss the Tokyo Olympic Games, where he was set to defend his title after he won a gold medal in 2016 Rio Games. Rudisha holds the world record in 800 meters, which is set in 2012 during the Olympic Games of 1 minute 40.91 seconds. Through his social media account, Rudisha announced that he'll be back in the field after a successful surgery of removal of an implant on his left leg.
What's the time? It's a world record! A world record here in London at the Olympic Games.
The impressive athlete will be hoping to continue his sparkling performance in the coming season. Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Muki, for that report. Moving on, ODM leader Raila Odinga has donated 500,000 shillings to Kenya Premier League side Sofapaka player Wisdom Naya, who is battling cancer. The 18-year-old was diagnosed with a thigh tumor known as soft tissue sarcoma, a rare type of cancer, and is raising funds to cater for his treatment in India.
Raila Odinga's tour of Trans Nzoia County meant much about 2022 general elections for residents, but for ailing Sofapaka midfielder Wisdom Naya, it was a godsend financial support for his battle with cancer. Youth from Matisi, Mitume and Kisumu Ndogo slums had a clear message for Raila on the placards to seek help from Raila for their fellow young man. The former Prime Minister donated 500,000 shillings to the family of the ailing midfielder, while Saboti MP Caleb Amisi also gave his donation of 100,000 shillings.
Serikali sana. If we can have a special hospital, special tu hospital tu vile tuko na Kenyatta Hospital, ambayo kazi yake ni mambo ya saratani, cancer patients. Now, if you are coming to contribute kwa mtu kama huyu, mnataka mcontributie ndio aende India. What about ule mwenye hajaona baba?
Nataka tu kushukuru sana mbunge wetu Mheshimiwa Caleb. Nasema asante kutoka ndani ya moyo wangu, kwa sababu mimi kama mzazi kweli ni changamoto. Ugonjwa huu venye mheshimiwa amesema, saratani si ugonjwa ya rahisi. Mimi pengine nilikuwa stable kimaisha, lakini kuanzia kijana wangu aanze kuugua, ukweli nimepigika kabisa, nimepigika.
However, the gifted Naya is determined to overcome the deadly cancer and come back stronger on the pitch. The St. Anthony's Kitale alumnus who has been diagnosed with a cancerous soft tissue sarcoma has successfully gone through 3 intense chemotherapy sessions at a local hospital in Eldoret, courtesy of Batoto Bamungu's sponsors Betika.
We wish Wisdom Naya all the best in his treatment. Moving on, Equity Hawks and Kenya Ports Authority KPA showed splendid performances in the ongoing FIBA Zone 5 Women's Club Championships in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, after claiming wins last night. Hawks beat Gladiators of Burundi 45-27, while KPA beat Energy Group of Rwanda 67-57 points.
Equity started the match on a high tempo and won the first quarter 9-6 before leading 13-11 in the second quarter. The Hawks then won 12-4 and 11-6 in the third and fourth quarters respectively. While another Kenyan side featuring in the championship, KPA, emerged victorious against Rwandan side Energy Group. Action continues tonight with KPA taking on Gladiators, while Equity will be up against OSDB Leonesses. All eyes will be on the final day of the round-robin competition, where Kenyan sides KPA and Equity clash to determine who will be crowned champions of the competition.
The third cluster of Athletics Kenya National Consultative Forum kicked off in Eldama Ravine, Baringo County, where athletes asked the federation to intervene and rid the game of unscrupulous brokers. Athletes said many of them live in scarlet conditions with nothing to show for their efforts because of these brokers who con them of their winnings after taking them abroad for competitions. Now, according to Christopher Komen, who is a marathoner, many youths have been lured into skewed deals that favor the managers instead of the athletes.
Shida wakimbiaji ambao wamefanikiwa wanashindwa jinsi ya kuinvest. So ninaomba AK ili aweze kufundisha hawa jinsi ya kuinvest.
Kwangu hiyo ndio ingehaji Athletic Kenya angalia and sports kama kuna watu ambaye ni wamesomea watusaidie kutuelimisha ili to prosper, sababu in real sense in the coming 10 years or 20 years utakuwa na nini.
Athletics Kenya has seen the need of listening to our athletes, more so the social aspects that they undergo during their times in training or even family issues.
And that's all we had for you right at the KBC Sports News Desk. Let's do this all over again tomorrow, same time, same place. Do have yourself a lovely night. My name is Karen Kibet, but the broadcast is not yet over as I do hand you back to Tom and Purity.
Thank you so much, Karen. Good night to you too. Thank you for watching Prime Edition this Monday night. My name is Purity Museo, and Wangeshi has been a sign language interpreter tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow, same place, same time. Good night and God bless.
That's right. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Mboya. Good night.
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya usini record, bonyeza *811*396#.
Unakata pia kapaya wa Kenya mnakuanga nako ya kuweka mtu kwa speaker alafu mnarekodi sauti yake bila ruhusa. Nikipata sauti yangu ina trend huko nje na kuna pesa napata, mtajua mimi mlu yako na roya na sina roya binadamu. Usini record.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii usini record, bonyeza *811*396#.
My name is Mohammed Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Welcome to the home of the fastest line, boosted odds, the best bonuses, instant payout, push. And even cashback. Odibet, bet extraordinary.